Can you see Mpho's video? Is it set up correctly?
Must I turn it the other way?
Yeah, I think because I'm not sure I'm seeing you the other way around.
Okay. Is the spy?
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Are we good, please? Okay, cool. I think we are. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. Thank you so much for joining us here at Select SA for our first interview. And if you really don't know what we're all about, you just have to hold on. It's really going to be a great evening as we sit with our guests. And do remember to like, share the page. Now, you know us here at Select SA, we like to sit with extraordinary minds that are making bold moves in their communities. Now, our guest tonight is not only, an achiever of note, he's also an epitome of perseverance. And that is none other than Mpho Botha. Good evening to you, Mpho, and welcome to Select SA.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great stuff. We are really excited to have you here. And how was the day so far?
My day was a bit relaxed. I took a day off today, so I did all the things that I love. And yeah, it's been a good day.
Great stuff. And maybe just to kick off the interview, I believe you were born and bred in the province of the Free State. How was life like that, when you grew up in Free State, and in which city did you grow up in?
I grew up in a small town called Welcome, and growing up was amazing. My mom made sure that I have the most amazing childhood. We grew up poor, but I never felt poor, and my mom just made it super amazing and a good childhood, and I really enjoyed it.
Now, to all of you who don't know out there, guys, when I say Mpho is just making bold moves out there, he's the former Mr. Teen World, and he is the director of the United Nations Pageant SA, and he's also the owner of Mpho Botha events. And we're really excited to have him here joining us. And how was school like for you, Mpho?
School was really well, it was good and bad. In the beginning, I hated school, not because of school itself, but because of the bullying that happened. I was bullied a lot in primary school, but then in high school, it was like a turn of events. I took charge and school was amazing, and I was an overachiever in high school. So school was really good. I can't complain.
I really think that we all have an experience, when it comes to school and, facing challenges like bullying and all that. And what would you say that, growing up in Free State taught you, what values did that teach you that you're applying in your life today?
I think growing up in the Free State, because in our province, things are not very accessible. In such cases like Gauteng or Cape Town, it taught me that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can become anything. It doesn't matter what you were born into, you can really do anything. And to also stop being scared to take chances and to put yourself out there. And I think one important thing that it has taught me is that there is a superpower about growing up in a small town. Because once you get to the big cities or once you meet the world, you really have that hunger and that drive that you want more. Because things growing up were not that accessible to me. So I had to work like 10 times harder to get even like a simple opportunity.
Now, with limited resource all around you, how did you manage to always dream big and to actually go for whatever that you wanted?
I think it's because of technology today. The internet made everything accessible to me, as much as there were limited resources where I come from in terms of the networks and the people around here. But I was always on my phone, Googling, always on the internet, watching documentaries. So the internet really became my best friend, and it helped me bridge the gap between a small town and a big city. And that's what made everything accessible to me.
That is really amazing. One thing that I would like to know is what really keeps you pushing, what keeps Mpho just going on despite of the challenges that life throws at you, what keeps you thriving?
I think what keeps me thriving is the fact that I grew up with very limited resources. And once I got to travel the world and see the world, I saw there is so much more to life than what I was used to. And I think that just brings up the hunger in me. And I am a very ambitious person and I can't sit still. So that also keeps me going. I hate stagnation and I'm all about progress. So wanting to be better than myself every single day, that's what keeps me going, because progress to me is like very important in life.
And you just mentioned, Mpho, earlier on that you experienced bullying in I believe it was in primary. How did that
Yes.
affect your self-esteem, and how did you really just manage to just bounce back from that and be this amazing person that you are today?
It really affected my self-esteem very badly. And it also built me as a person. Because imagine now, I'm this 12-year-old boy getting bullied every single day when I go to school. So it really affected me. I thought there was something wrong with me. I always felt like I don't belong, I don't fit in. And later on in life, I realized I was never born to fit in, or I was never meant to belong to a certain group or a certain circle. And that really, as much as it broke me, it also built me up, because I wouldn't be the person that I am if I didn't get bullied and people were nasty to me in life. It really built my character and my self-esteem as well.
Well, we really have a lot to learn from you, Mpho. And what would you say to, a young girl, a young boy in the villages who really are struggling, with bullying and self-esteem issues? What message would you give them?
I would say to them that to love yourself fully, to embrace yourself, and to fully accept yourself. And that happiness lies with only you. Once you accept yourself, what the world has to say doesn't really matter. Because throughout our lives, you always have people that are going to say something, whether you do good or whether you do bad. So just do you and go after those dreams.
You really are a force to put up with, Mpho. Now, I just want us to touch, a bit on the world of pageantry. Where did that start? How did that come about?
It's actually funny because I was bullied a lot, so I was shy and I didn't have any self-confidence. And a teacher said to me, there was a pageant happening in our town at the time, and he said, why don't you try this pageant just to build up your confidence? And funny enough, I fell in love with the stage. And I always used to watch the show called Toddlers and Tiaras on TLC. And I was like, this is definitely something I want to do. I want to be on stage. I want to express myself. And I'm in love with the glamour. And once I did it, I fell in love. And I was like, this is actually like something that I really, really want to do.
Now, you just touched something there. You said there's a teacher that actually suggested to you. Is she still alive? How does she feel when she looks at you today?
It's actually a he, and he is still alive. He's very proud. He's always liking my posts on Facebook. Like, he's beaming with pride that I actually took the leap of faith and did this. And he's proud of how far I've come.
One thing that I'm picking up from just what she said is that in life, we really need to be grateful for whatever experiences that we face, because we really don't know how they can make us to turn out. And look at you today, from being bullied, low self-esteem, to being Mr. Teen World. How did that feel like when you actually thought of getting into the competition of Mr. Teen World? What is going on in your mind?
I won Mr. Junior South Africa, and after that, they told me that, by the way, you qualified to go represent us at Mr. Teen World, and they gave me like a few weeks to prepare. And I was grateful for the opportunity. I was nervous, and when I got there, I was even more nervous because I competed with these beautiful European guys with like six packs and jaw lines. And I was young at the time. I was skinny. I was like the youngest person in the competition at 15. And when I won the competition, it felt surreal. It felt like, oh my God, it's actually possible. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. Who would have thought a young boy from Welcome in the Free State would win Mr. Teen World? So to me, it just proved every single thing that I believed in, that whatever you want to accomplish in life, it's possible.
And what are some of the lessons, Mpho, that you'd like to share with our viewers? Perhaps there's a girl or a young boy out there, who's just contemplating, should I try it? Shouldn't I? What would you say to them from some of the lessons that you learned from the whole journey?
I think they should definitely give it a try. I believe in yeses. And what I learned the most, the lesson that I learned, firstly is that it's possible. Whatever dream, whatever goal you have in mind, you can achieve it. Sometimes the experience taught me that God sometimes says no, but he doesn't mean no, he means not now or next opportunity. So believe in God's timing and put yourself out there, go after those dreams. They are possible. And to also never ever overlook yourself and to believe in yourself. Because when I was in the competition, I thought I wouldn't win because these guys look good. But I had to believe in myself and I had to convince myself that I did not come this far just to come this far. So believe in yourself, and God never says no, he just says not now.
That is really amazing, Paul. And what are some of the things that you've actually done in the world of pageantry, just besides becoming Mr. Teen World SA?
As I mentioned, I won Mr. Junior South Africa, and then I also won Mr. Junior Africa. What else have I won? I won at Mr. Teen World, Mr. Talent of the World, and got an amazing opportunity to perform at Miss Seven Continents in front of a live audience. And I've also began a few of my pageants in the pageant world, made a few magazines and judged a couple of pageants, emceed a couple of pageants as well.
And growing up, I actually picked that from you, that you never really wanted to go into the world of pageantry. What would you actually be doing today if you were not doing that? Or what are you maybe doing right now besides that?
Besides that, I really am into entrepreneurship. I actually I remember when I was younger, when I was 12 years old, I picked up my first business book. And I've been doing a business on the side. Some people don't know the kind of business I do as well. But if it wasn't for pageantry, I would be a full-on entrepreneur. Even now I am, which is also a very, my number one passion is entrepreneurship, and it's always been entrepreneurship.
And who are some of the people that you actually have been looking up to so far in your journey that just inspire you?
I look up to Robert Kiyosaki. He's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I look up to Vusi Tem. Yeah, he's really great. I look up to Vusi Tembekwayo, and I also look up to Ryan Seacrest. He's managed to turn his TV career into an amazing business. Yeah, those are some of the people I look up to in the world.
Right. And now I just want us to talk about your baby. And when I say your baby, I mean Mpho Botha events. Just take us through that process. When did it come about? And what is just the idea behind it? Obviously, you're already Mr. Teen World by the time, I believe. How did it come about?
Yeah, after winning Mr. Teen World, it actually led me to Mpho Botha events, because a lot of kids and people asking me, how can I go internationally with pageants? How can I enter a pageant? How can I become a model? And I decided in my town to start a pageant for my town. And that's how Mpho Botha events is birthed. I did the pageant for a few years. And when I turned 18, because you're not allowed to register a company if you're under 18. Yeah. So when I turned 18, I literally waited till midnight and I was like, I am registering in a company. I wanted to succeed. I'm going to be an entrepreneur full time. So when people were sending me birthday messages, I was like, please stop. I'm trying to register with CIBC. I was on their website after midnight, registering my company. And it was birthed in that, because I've been involved in pageants for such a long time. And I also wanted to invest in pageants and host pageants that were different and that did things differently, because I could see with a lot of competitions that I entered that some of them were not very inclusive and they had so much to improve on. So I wanted to create a platform for young people and make pageantry accessible to everyone.
And I believe that Mpho Botha events then gave birth to you getting the license for the United Nations pageant. Tell us the story. How was the application process? And really, I don't know what was going through your mind, Mpho, when you just applied. How did that happen?
I actually applied for Miss Teen International, and then they decided that they're going to take away the license from me because I bought it in October and they were hosting it in December. And they said I needed to have someone representing South Africa in December. And I couldn't find anyone because I had 1 month to send someone and I couldn't find anyone. And then they took away the license from me and I was like, oh my God, there goes my chance of owning a national pageant. Then I started doing research and a lot of research in December and January. And I came up on the United Nations pageant and I saw their structure. I saw what they're all about. They're very inclusive and they allow everybody to enter. And you find that it's rare with international competition that they allow anybody to enter because they have height requirements, body specifications, and there's so much that goes into it. And I was like, this is the right pageant, because I always wanted a pageant that is inclusive and that says to young people in South Africa that you don't have to be a certain demographic in order to go international with pageantry. So I fell in love, I applied, and fortunately they accepted my application. And then Bob's was your uncle. We went ahead and hosted the first South African United Nations pageant.
Now, you just led me to my next question right there. And I just wanted us to actually just chat about how different is the United Nations pageant? How is it different from all others?
Yeah, I think after buying it, I love their motto, but when I bought it and I made it South African, I added so many things that I thought our country needs. I mean, with our ad that we ran last year and the ad campaign we had for the call of entries, I said, I want every kind of model. I want plus size models. I want people who look different and people who never thought that they could be part of a pageant. And that's how it's different from other pageants that you have out here. We are very, we emphasize inclusivity. We want to include everybody. And we want young girls and boys, when they look at our winners, to say, I too can be a Miss United Nations South Africa, or you know what. So we try to make it as inclusive as possible, which is something that you find very rare with pageantry, but I think it's moving in that direction nowadays. But yeah, it's all about inclusivity, which is also something that people also complain about with pageantry, that there's lack of representation, and that's the difference with us.
And from just what you said, you just gave me an idea there. Do you think I stand a chance?
Yes, you do. Everybody stands a chance. I never thought I could be Mr. Teen World, but look at me now.
And just take us through some of the requirements and all that for someone to apply.
For someone to apply, our requirements are actually very holistic, and it's an organic approach. So the requirements are, you should be hardworking and committed. Charity work is very important. We want somebody who's very intellectual as well. You must be able to be a leader and represent a region or our country. And we're looking for somebody who can just go out there and be a role model and just inspire the next person sitting at home who have no hope, or they have insecurities, or they are bullied, or they feel like they're different.
And Mpho, how are you guys reaching out to our young kids that are living in rural areas and all that? How do you guys reach out to them?
We actually have a beautiful structure in our system whereby if you're chosen as a finalist, every single finalist is obliged to do charity work or give a speech or something. We actually have it as part of their finalist package. You're supposed to do charity work, and then you must host an event or do a motivational talk in your region. So we find that we have 100 finalists from every part of South Africa, and each one of them is reaching out to someone or kids in their community. And that's how we manage to create the impact and also create a ripple effect with our structure.
That is really great, Mpho. And I just want to check quickly on the comments here. I've got a question for you, so I'm just going to try and read it out. Just bear with me. So it's from Makadro Toby Thomas, and he's saying, it's amazing seeing young people taking up space. My question to Mpho, he says South Africa youth tends to depend on social grant, especially now in the pandemic. What advice would you give to young people? And he says, okay, there's more, just bear with me. So what advice would you give to young people to actually take up space? Yeah. So the question is, what advice would you give to young people since they're actually depending on social grant during this difficult time that we're actually going through? I'm just now trying to paraphrase this question. It's very long.
Yeah, I would say, sorry, but I'm a straight shooter, but I actually don't believe in social grants, especially when it comes to our youth and young people. It makes us lazy and entitled. And this is what you find, that we always want the government's help, and we always entitled to somebody and something. And I think to our youth, I'd say, do not depend on the government, do not depend on anyone. You need to actually build a sustainable life or a sustainable brand or you need to just go out there and create wealth for yourself if that's what you're looking for. And these social grants are only a temporary solution. They're not a long-term solution. We might them now, but you're not going to get them 5 years down the line. But I promise you, if you build something sustainable and that will sustain you 5-10 years from now, you're going to be okay in the end. And knowing that you built something by yourself just adds so much value to you. You learn so much about yourself, and it just makes you a well-respected person at the end of the day, not only to society, but also to yourself.
And just on that note, Mpho, what are some of the challenges that you'd like to share with our viewers that you actually went through? I believe you started from nothing to where you are today. What are some of the challenges in terms of funding and all that you actually faced?
Yeah, actually, funding was also the first challenge that I ran into. That I want to have this company, I want to start this thing, but I don't have the money to even register or the money to do this. And one model I believe in is building a business that is self-funded. So that was a challenge, and I've learned to be self-funded and to start things from scratch and to actually build a funding model for yourself. Another challenge that I faced was my age, and people don't take you seriously because I was this 18-year-old wanting a company, like starting a company. Yeah, and people are like, we're not going to take you seriously. What do you know? You're only 18. And I still even run into it now, like, what do you know about business? You're only 18. So age played a key role in it. As much as I have an advantage of starting very young, but also it comes with its own set of challenges. And also another thing I faced, another challenge I faced is working with people. Working with people is very hard, especially with the age thing as well. Nobody wanted to hear from an 18-year-old bossing them around or telling them what to do, which is something I still face now. Like, nobody wants to listen to me. Like, but it's my company at the end of the day. It's either you listen or you don't. So that's another challenge I faced. Another challenge I also faced is destroying the stigma about a young Black business person, that people already deemed you as unprofessional because you're Black. Now you bring in the age thing, more unprofessional. They don't know what they're doing. So it helped me build a lot of my strength and actually just pushing through the barrier and having laser focus.
Well, thank you so much for just, for just paving the path, I believe, for a lot of young people that are going to be walking in your footsteps. You really did amazing there. And we just have a bit of a twister now for our guest. Are you ready, Mpho? We have a bit of a brain teaser for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, we're just going to check how well do you know the world of pageantry. And I must warn you, I've got 4 questions and I've saved the best for last. Now, you're not ready for this one. You really have to think. So the first question is, who was Miss South Africa in 2014?
Rolene Strauss.
Yeah, you got that one. And what do you really just love about her? Because we all love her, don't we?
We do. I think the thing about Rolene Strauss is she is smart. She's not only beautiful, but she's beauty with brains, and truly what that stands for. But I also like what she actually did after her Miss World title, is because she built a business with the influence she gained. I mean, she has her own book out now. She has a coaching company out now. She does seminars. She still MCs. She has ambassadorships. So I like the fact that, and it's something that I always preach, use the platform to launch a career for yourself or to make sure that it's still sustainable even after you've given away your title.
Right, and you just got that one. Well, I was a bit, just easy for you, but just hold on there. And our second question is, who is the current Miss Universe?
Zozibini Tunzi.
That is Zozibini Tunzi. And what would you say actually makes her stand out from all these other beauty queens that you've actually seen?
I always said that Zozibini actually saved the pageant industry. People don't realize what a revolution she is. Miss Universe has never ever crowned a woman with her kind of look, her kind of hairstyle. And I mean, she just broke the stigma about pageantry. And also the fact that Miss Universe, and okay, another thing I like about her, she's very articulate. She knows how to articulate herself, and she's very well spoken. So kudos to her.
She really broke a lot of boundaries, and I believe that a lot of girls are actually just looking up to her, and they're just even more inspired, to just walk in her footsteps. Now, our third question for you, Mpho. Who was the first Miss South Africa in 1956?
I actually don't know that one. You guys got me. I don't know.
I told you we just build it up and it's getting even more tricky. That is Noma Brewster.
Wow.
She was the first Miss South Africa, and that was actually in 1956. So she paved the path for most beautiful queens that we actually see today.
Yes,
And
she did.
we are on our fourth. Now, brace yourself and just think. Who was the first Africa's Mr. Teen World?
I thought this was gonna be the hardest one. But
I
it
got
was a
you.
guy. It was a guy. I know. His name was Mpho Botha. He was the first Mr. Teen World from Africa.
That is really, really brilliant, Mpho. And I just think that you are doing amazing work, with the platform that you have and just mentoring young people, to build their self-confidence and how they view themselves. You are really doing amazing things with the Mpho Botha event. And I've just got another question for you, if you don't mind. It's from Sipho Moniso, and he's saying, hey, Mpho, how do you build consistency? So it sounds like you do a number of activities, but on the business side, how do you stay consistent?
I think staying consistent is the hardest thing, first of all, to do in business, because you do have bad days, you do have bad months. But one thing I've always learned is that it's an analogy that I've learned. It's you are the sky and everything that passes is the clouds. So that's why you should always remain consistent. And I know by showing up for myself every single day, no matter how hard it gets, this too shall pass and better days are coming. And you need to just keep that dream and keep it there and be laser focused. And always remember, if you don't work towards it, nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to work towards that dream if you don't.
That is really brilliant advice coming from an expert himself who's been doing business for how long now, Mpho?
Since I was 16.
You really, really got this. And who would you say inspires you in business besides Robert Kiyosaki?
I would say the person that really inspires me in business is Sir Richard Branson. He also started when he was 16. And what he has managed to turn his business into is truly amazing. He's in airlines, banking, cell phone networks. So he really, really inspires me. And the fact that he started when I was my age, I picked up his book when I was 16, and really his lessons and what he has accomplished has stuck with me and has showed me that anything you want to achieve is possible.
And what would you say the importance of mindset in building consistently and just maybe building yourself and your business, whatever that you're doing? How important is that? How important is mindset?
Mindset is everything. I cannot emphasize how important mindset is, because you need to constantly work on your mindset as well. Your mind is like, a field. If you don't plow it it's like a garden. Weeds grow out randomly. Things will just get out of control. But you need to plow it and be intentional with your mindset. Plant things in your mindset. Read books. Plant those lilies. Plant good things, invest in your mindset, because it's really important. Because once I started changing my mindset, that's when I started achieving. So you have to cultivate your mindset, and you always have to control your thoughts and that inner conversation, because that's actually what determines how far you go. They say 80% is mindset and 20% is action.
That is very true. And I believe that another important thing, Paul, is how one actually starts their day. How do you start your day?
I start off my day actually with a motivational tape or a seminar or something that will just, and I listen to the same one like every single day. So that consistency and something that will literally, I wake up and it transforms the way I think, and it challenges me, and it puts me in a good mood, and it puts me in let's go life, I'm ready for you. You know, even on your hard days, it's important to listen to those things. Like, you need to get up and fight, because nobody's going to do it for you. So I start my day with listening to a podcast or a motivational speech or a video, and then I meditate, I listen to my thoughts, I plan my day, I become intentional, I remind myself of what I actually want to achieve, and then I go into music. Music always lifts your mood. I promise you, just listening to music and just getting your day started. That's how I start my day.
And how do you just make sure that, you know, you really stick to routine? Because it's one thing to have, you know, it's like having what you call, it's like having goals for the year, you know, at the beginning. But how do you just manage to really stick to routine to make sure that you get the success that you're looking for?
The thing I said about my mornings. Also, one thing I do is journal. So I have a dream book. So every single morning, I look at my goals. On my screensaver, it's my vision board. On my wall, on my fridge, I have monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. So goal setting is very important to me, and always looking at the goals I set in the beginning of the year. And one thing I do is I plan my goals in 3 months. So I focus on the first 3 months of the year, the goals that I want to achieve, and I look at them every single day. And I ask myself, how can I accomplish this today? Or how can I get closer to this today? And that has actually really worked for me, because before I used to forget about my goals. And then you look back a year and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even do half the things I said I would do.
I think that's really just a brilliant strategy, Mpho, just to always make sure that you go back and you review what you have said you would do, and just see how far you are and what you can actually do better to get you to the next level. Now, what is the future looking like for Mpho?
The future looks exciting. It looks great. I'm excited for the future. I have my t-shirt line coming up. So literally, like, I'm even wearing one today that says "Millionaire in the Making." It literally has all my favorite sayings on there. And also, later on this year, I'll be launching Miss United Africa. I recently got the trademark for it. And man, I mean, the future really looks great. Some of the plans I can't splurge out because I don't like to jinx things, but it really looks great. And I'll be doing more work in terms of my personal brand and growing my company and growing in the pageant industry.
You truly are an inspiration to all of us, Mpho. Like, at your age, you are doing so much. And, you know, I believe that tonight's conversation has really inspired a lot of young people that are just sitting there at home thinking to do it or not to do it. And I think one of the lessons that I've picked, you know, from this conversation and your journey is that, you know, you can start as early as you can. You are never too young to chase your dreams. We will just keep following the amazing work that you're doing. And for all our viewers that would like to get in touch with you, how can they get hold of you?
They can follow me on Instagram. Is at Mpho Botha _ I do answer my DMs, and they can also catch me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, it's Mpho Botha, and on Twitter, it's Mpho Botha _ as well.
Thank you so much, Mpho, for taking time out of your busy schedule and just sitting with us this evening. We really enjoyed our conversation with you, and we just wish you the best for the future. And just remember, we are watching.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. And thank you for having me. And to you, all the best with the channel. And I'm very proud of you as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you once again to all our viewers that sat with us, that engaged with us. And do remember to like our page, share this interview, and inspire other young people. And do remember to follow our YouTube channel. It's called Select SA. I am Wandile, your host for this evening, and we'll catch you on our next interview as we sit with yet another extraordinary mind doing both things in their communities. Thank you so much, and a great evening to all.